Hello and welcome back to the Gamer's Guide to Business. Today I want to talk about the importance of having a good, strong, powerful network. This topic actually kind of came to me by accident today. I was kind of stumbling about what I wanted to talk about today and whether I had anything to talk about today, even though there's so many topics that I do want to eventually touch on. But I think the most developed thought that I've had that I really do want to touch on today is absolutely how important and how easy it is to build a strong network that can really guide you very, very, very far in life. So quickly, the idea came to me by putting on my MLG sweatshirt. I was a little cold. I'm like, yeah, I'm a little chilled. Let's put on just a hoodie. And I just grabbed the MLG hoodie and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I remember how I got that gig and how I made those acquaintances with all of the people at MLG. And then I was talking to a guy, Matthew Hamilton, who used to work with GFUEL. Now is doing amazing social media marketing for amazing companies. Just released on LinkedIn and Twitter, I believe. But LinkedIn, I saw it specifically like how he took a company from like 50,000 impressions to 14 million impressions or some unbelievably awesome number like that in, I forget exactly what time period, but he was asking me how to leverage LinkedIn, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's cool. I also the MLG Columbus Gears of War event was the first time I actually met him in person, so it was just kind of one of those cool things. And one thing that I think is really strong is I leave 2018 and what it was able to do for me and head into 2019 and see what 2019 is going to be able to provide for me is just realizing the power of a strong network. You look at how, and this is going to be slightly off topic to gaming specifically, but I think it's important for this point, is you look at the network that I've been able to build, and network specifically is kind of a LinkedIn term in terms of social media. You know, there's followers, there's likes, there's whatever you want to call it, subscriptions, follows in other platforms and all that, but the network in LinkedIn is kind of how it's developed and how you build around yourself. So through LinkedIn, I've been able to build a network of, at this point, over 10,000, almost 11,000 strong. And what I've noticed by that is how active those people really are. Now, there's definitely something to be said about why they're active and what reciprocation they hope to be had in return, but if you think about it, networking is huge. And if you want something done, you go and you find the people that make those moves and you make that connection. You make that network. You build your network with those people in it so that anybody that they're connected to, anybody that they have that, you know, if they retweet something from you and now all of a sudden you're being impressioned by everybody in their network, and there's so many variables to it on so many different platforms, and we can go through specific platforms as well as to how it kind of benefits and how you can kind of leverage it, but we'll see if that's kind of how this goes. I'm gonna kind of do this one on the fly a little bit, but networking and having a strong network is huge, and I think that I didn't really realize the power of a network until I had a business, but looking back on it, I was always networking. I think that that's really an interesting thing, and definitely shows who I am in the hustle that I provide to everybody around me every day. But just the fun thing about it is just how under the radar it can go, especially in gaming and especially at MLG events. So I will go through, I got my first gig through Major League Gaming by sending a message to somebody that worked at MLG. It wasn't necessarily a higher up role. It was just somebody that I was already following. They were following me back, and I was in their network, and we had exchanged likes and retweets and, a few conversation points here and there. And eventually I just got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm curious how I can get in. I only had a Canon T3i and a 50mm 1.8, which goes to show how gear isn't the most important piece of whether or not you can get a job in the photography or videography field, but being able to send that message and just say, hey, do you have any openings, or is there any way that I could come to an event? I'm not asking for any compensation. I will buy the pass. I will pay for my room and board. I will pay for my travel, everything. I just want to know if I come to name event, can I come and get a media pass or get some sort of access to just take some photos? And again, that also goes into the power of asking, but we can touch on that in a short period. But I just think it's an interesting point because I was able to So based on the content that I was posting was relevant to what I do and what I hope to achieve. And that's another huge thing with LinkedIn specifically. Your cover photo, your profile photo and your bio should attract what you're trying to get. So my content in every feed is curated to the work that I want to get. And that's super, super important, because if I am if I'm prospecting people and I want to see if you're a good photographer and all you have on your Instagram are pictures of you and your girlfriend, or whatever the case may be, that doesn't showcase me instantly the kind of photographer that you are. I can go and find your work and all of that jazz, absolutely, but I, on every platform, curate the feed to attract the attention that I want to get. If you look at real life relationships, you approach people and give people the respect that you hope to achieve in return. And the same thing goes for social media. And I think that that's something that gets lost in translation so easily. It's just the importance of putting out there what you hope to achieve back in return. And obviously, like, when you are super hit, getting super amounts of impressions on social media, is because you're out there, you're putting content out there that curates the kind of attention that you want back. You're out engaging with people, you're building your network, you're showcasing how strong your network is based on how many people can like and comment on your work, or retweet your photos, or subscribe to your YouTube channel, whatever that is for any platform. Your network is directly correlated to every piece of success that you are able to bring to yourself. So with that, I was able to get a media pass to go to MLG Columbus to shoot a Gears of War event. It was one of their lower tier events, didn't have a lot of sponsor behind it, just Gears of War. I mean, this was late 2015, I want to say, like October, November 2015. So I went and I took photos and crushed it. I had a great time. I took a lot of really cool photos. It was interesting to see how that works, how that space is, but while I was there, I was networking with people. I was chatting with people, learning what they do, learning how they got in the biz, if you will, and just bouncing introspectives off of people, because I wanted to see, because everybody has a story about how they got into their job or how they created their own line of work or whatever the case is. And whether or not they were happy with their position or whatever, I wanted to just dive a little bit deeper into how, building a network. If I came to a future event, I wanted to make sure that when I went to that future event, people would already know who I was, because I've already made that connection. And I met amazing people while I was there. Like I mentioned, I met Matt Hamilton. I believe Oreo was there as well. And I briefly met Optic Hitch through Matt while we were taking some photos on the Skywalk. But just, you look at the power of those networks that you're immediately incorporated to and with, and just being able to ask for that, got the media pass, and was able to put good work forward, do a good job, meet amazing people. You see the networks that Hitch has, that Matt has, that Oreo has, and how that's now opened up my entire world to esports, period. So within that, I was able to then land a paid job to shoot sponsor spots for MLG Las Vegas. And that did not go as well as I had hoped, because I definitely wasn't mature enough, wasn't ready enough, didn't really have a good line of communication with what was needed, what was expected, and it just really, honestly, I don't think it was something that they needed, but they wanted to send me out there to see if it was something that they could make happen and all this jazz. You look at, that was when MetaThreads was really early in their existence and stuff like that, so nowadays you look at any company that goes to events, they have their own photographer, they have their own media team, and yeah, so I don't think that position would have lasted anyway, if we're going to be honest, but still to this day, I met even more amazing people there. I really was able to kind of capitalize on just the importance of building a network and being active on social media, not expecting things to come to me on social media, but going out to grant beyond expectations to others on social media. So I met the founders of Filthy Casual while I was there. I met, actually, ironically, so I was was and still am obviously an IntoTheAm sponsor, and I saw somebody with an IntoTheAm hoodie, and I stopped and I said, yo, is that an IntoTheAm hoodie? Because every time I see one, I ask, because I mean there's so many people that have like similar designs and whatnot, so I'm always just like, yeah, or is that an IntoTheAm? And then it's like super sweet conversation, and still follow each other this day and chat from time to time. Like it's absolutely awesome. So building that network was huge, and I was able to build that even more while I was in Las Vegas for, that was Call of Duty. But again, you know, I shot photos while everybody else was like drinking and dancing. I was like, I am taking photos of DidsLive. DidsLive, I don't know how you actually pronounce it. And Miha was there, I believe. Again, probably mispronounced that as well. But amazing shows. That was like my actual first like EDM style show, and that's like my jam. So I was super, super hyped. But I was like, yo, I want to take pictures too. So I believe I still had actually the same equipment for that. Like you look at just quick diversion. Mind-blowing fact that I shot 2 MLG events with a Canon T3i and a 50mm 1.8. Incredible. But moving forward now to just how that can work for you on other platforms. So let's say you're trying to build a stream yourself, or let's say you're trying to build, let's just put an example out there. You are a new up-and-coming streamer. You're trying to get your sponsors out there, or trying to get sponsors, period, just to get your stream out there, get some revenue flowing in, and just find what's the right fit for you out there in the business world of this. So what you can do is just leverage the people that you already know. So you have people in your network that you probably already have following you or added as a friend somewhere, that like just strike a conversation. You know, it's not hard to like approach somebody and have a conversation with them without it being like this anticipation to bring some value to you in return. Like you can have a conversation that's like, hey, I love what you do, I love what you're about, is there anything that I can do to help, is there any way that I could get involved? Just so many different ways that you can go about it. I don't know why, or this has happened a long time ago, but I remember having a conversation with like some people at gaming charity to shoot, I forget the name of it offhand, but they do like the little roller carts for like children in hospitals with disabilities. I want to say it's like Gamers for Giving or something. I could be wrong, but almost went to Michigan to shoot that event, but they just had so many media staff. I believe that might have been the issue. But just, you know, you can get your name out there, and when you go to these places, or you go to these events, or you are on stream and you notice these people, like figure out who they're connected to and build that network. Like I hate referencing LinkedIn and everything, but like the visualization of this is very much how LinkedIn operates. You have your first connections, which is your the people that are actually literally following you straight up. Those are your first connections. Then you have your tier 2 connections, which are the people that follow those first connections. And then you have your third tier connections, which are people that follow your second tier connections. But you look at like the theory of how you're whatever it is 8 people away from anybody in the world, and like that's super yes. It is 100% yes. Like one of our clients, Monkey Emeralds, like you look at who those players are connected to, being from literally all over the world, Europe, Canada, wherever, you know. One guy's from Oklahoma, so you know there's just connections everywhere across the globe. And then you look at just any streamer that you know, or any, you know, social media team that you can be a part of, and just the connections that can lead to. And like, you know, you have the simplicity of a lot of streamers having that 9-to-5 job, but like if you come back out of work at 5 o'clock or whatever it is, and then you go and you push those networks, it's amazing what you can accomplish. And just, you know, finding out what first tier relationships you want to really nourish, and who their second tier connections are, and then you'll stumble upon the third tier connections. And like I feel like you can work your way into any position just by building a strong network and actually doing something with it that isn't just putting things out there expecting a whole bunch in return. So let's just use Twitter as an example. So I was able to land the MLG gig initially through a DM that I sent through Twitter. So find out those people that own these companies, run these companies, social media managers, media personnel, like follow these people, build relationships with these people. They're not gonna bite. They're awesome, amazing people, and like befriend them. I like Oreo was that guy that I went to, and like he's got a very awesome sense of humor, but it like for some people it might come off as like I don't like you sort of mentality, but that's totally not how it is. But like you look at just how much both of our lives have changed, and I can still pop in his streams when he's editing photos, and his portraits are like, seriously, go follow him. He's just incredible photographer, but like his portrait game is incredible, and he's working like with agencies and modeling agencies and just all of these sorts of things while still doing like full esports gigs, and popping in his stream, and just like we don't talk as much, and obviously we don't cross paths in person anymore, but like I still have him. I would consider him a very good acquaintance, like he knows who I am, I know who he is. I can stop in his stream and we can strike a really good conversation. We can talk about photography, what cameras are coming out, what new lens he just got, whatever that is, and we can like actually have a good conversation. But like you look at who Oreo alone is connected to, he's connected to Meta Threads, to Filthy Casual, to Gamers for Giving. He's connected to all of these people, all of these organizations, and like just being there in other people's networks and nourishing relationships in other people's networks and communities, like we briefly touched on last week, is something that is infinitely beneficial to you. So how do you go about building that network? Well, find those people that you really appreciate. Find those people whose content you just love. Obviously, day one, you don't have to go out and find the CEO of Twitch and try and follow his stuff. But like the people that you're probably already watching are probably really well connected. And the people that you're really close with are probably really well connected. They might have sponsorships of their own. They might have affiliations with other companies or other people that, maybe they're a mod for some bigger streamer's stream or whatever the case is. But just like, I guarantee you, and myself included, I'm totally guilty of this. Like, absolutely no shame in saying that, and absolutely is the truth. But, like, go to their stuff more, man. Like, be there. Be active. Follow their content. Actually genuinely give a damn about what they do. Go out and like their photos on Instagram. Retweet their stuff on Twitter. Follow along on their YouTube channels if they post highlight streams or whatever the case is. Go out and just do those things. I think you will find the value really tenfold come back, and that's what's super important, because then like we were talking about last week briefly, you look at Moji's community and how I would consider myself semi a part of it. Like, it's just incredible how now people that watch Moji stream follow my stream and follow me on Instagram and follow me on Twitter, and I can like some of their posts and they will like some of mine, and I can post a cool response to one of their things, and vice versa. Like, it's just incredible. And if you maintain these active relationships, then you dabble in a quick tweet response to a high level person that you're really looking up to and really want to kind of see what they're about. Like, say I were to go want to be a part of what MKBHD does. I find who works for MKBHD. I find out what they do, because, I want to be able to be a part of the conversation for everything that they do. So if it's like, hey, I got this email from this guy, we've been chatting for a while, let's give him a shot, let's take a look at him. Whatever that case is, you want to embed yourself in their networks, embed yourself in their communities, so that no matter where you are or what you're doing, you can send an email and you're not this foreign concept. Like I've mentioned in previous episodes, or a previous episode specifically, about what our employee did with that USB keyboard company. Like, you put yourself in that network now, 3 months down the road, when you're building your content and you're doing these things and you're engaging with these other people and you're engaging with the people that work at that company. Like, 3 months, every 3 months, you send another message. Just nothing too like chauvinist or anything like that, but just like, hey, checking in, just curious how you guys are doing. If you guys need help with anything, just want to offer my services again. Whatever that looks like for your situation. But then you can go and you can be there always, and then just go and find who works at these companies and connect with them and engage with their content. And like, I think what something that was said on the Urban Misfit show that we also host for the company was the photographer for Cost Headphones said, I want to create a world so big that everybody has to live within it. And I think that that's super, super strong here as well. You have to create a world and a network so big, community so big, that no matter where you are, it's there. No matter where you go, you should be able to go to TwitchCon and be stopped by somebody that recognizes you from online, or be able to go to TwitchCon and give 5 people that come to your stream hugs, because like that is the epiphany of all of that work that you do. If you can go somewhere that is, has high class events and talent and all of that, and you can be recognized even by anybody, it matters. It absolutely matters. So whatever it is that you have to do to make yourself available and to make yourself there, just do it. And whether that's uploading once a day on Instagram, scheduling out tweets through Twitter, whatever that looks like, just be there, be a part of everybody's network, and go out and do there. So then, all right, fast forward. Now you've been building your social media. You've got 3 tweets a day that you send out, 1 photo on Instagram that you post that is relevant to what you're, like I mentioned, trying to curate. So now you're at this event. So what do you do when you're at this event? You're at an MLG event, you're at TwitchCon, whatever that is, VidCon. Go out and find those people that really, really, really are awesome to you. So obviously, like, if it's a player, you might not be able to get time with them, but I think you'll find that they're a lot more available than you anticipate. And I think that that's really, really super important to understand, is that they're way, way, way more available than you anticipate. And they're always willing to just pitch in a helping hand. I'll never forget, I was sitting down eating lunch at, I want to say it was Las Vegas. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe it was Columbus. But anyway, I forget exactly which team it was, but one of the higher up teams they were just eating lunch and prepping for their next series. They were just shooting the shit. And like, these 3 couldn't have been older than 7-year-old kids came up and were just like, I want to be a professional gamer when I grow up. And I'll never forget that moment, because like, I could just see kind of the quizzical look on these players' faces as they were signing these autographs to these 7